Stand by, 10 seconds there.
Oh, here we go. You all set?
Camera 2, ready your opening shot.
Give me the opening 3.
Stand by the roll tape.
Right, you got the copy?
Roll tape.
Now I
3 seconds there. 2, 1. Take camera 2, use it.
Just outside Buffalo, New York, is rapidly beginning to fill. A little over 24 hours ago, 20,000 seats were available for Miami and Buffalo's season opener, but O.J. Simpson wasn't. Since then, however, O.J. Simpson has resolved his problems. Simpson, signing an incredible agreement with the Bills, arrived last night, and with his arrival, the lines began to form for tickets. Come an 80,000-seat sellout. That's the magic of the juice. And ABC's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Ford.
There's no question about it. Now, I don't know whether or not he's going to be able to shore up that young kind of linebacking situation, but Don Shula is smart, Howard, and he knows that Nick can do at least one of two things, and one of them is, of course, the leadership in which he'll bring to that young ball club, so he's pretty smart in that way. I think we're going to see a good ball game today. I don't know if Frank realizes it or not, but I know when he was playing, he was making like $1.27 every 6.5 yards. So, Frank, what do you think?
Well, O.J. Simpson gained 2,000 yards in a season. He gets $800,000 a year or thereabouts. That's $400 a yard. What's your view?
Well, I don't have any view on his finances. I'm sure some of the other players might. Some of the players have gone through training camp. They can't help but have a little bit of feeling about it. And I'm just glad he's back because I really like to watch him play. We have more than O.J. Simpson involved in this game tonight. We have a team, I think, that really has an outside shot at going to the Super Bowl again. Miami, they put it back together a year ago. They had so many people hurt, it was just impossible, yet they still came up 10-4 in the season. Of course, Miami is led by their fine quarterback, Bob Greasy. He missed the last 4 games for Miami last year with a bad tendon in his right toe, but he's back, he's strong, he's throwing over 70% in preseason. And he's going up against his counterpart of the Buffalo Bills, a youngster named Joe Ferguson. Now, Joe Ferguson has been in a fight for his life to maintain his starting role at quarterback. But if you think back a year ago, it was Joe Ferguson who threw 25 touchdown passes. That's pretty good. So we're looking for a good football game. 2 fine quarterbacks. If there's one thing to say about Buffalo, even though they have the juice back, they have not resolved their real problem. They do not have a very good defense. And you don't win. Miami, of course, 10-4, tying Baltimore in the AFC's Eastern Division. However, Baltimore beat them, so Baltimore went to the playoffs. Cincinnati had a better record in the AFC, so they got the wild card. Buffalo, a vastly changed team than they were last year. They'll have a lot of rookies. They have cast off a lot of players that hurt them defensively last year. They're going to go with young players. We're looking at the deep receivers. Dropping back is the veteran, Vic Washington, number 33. He's back there with the rookie, 46, Keith Moody. From Syracuse, a 10th round draft pick. And Garo, your premium is setting it up. We do not know, but O.J. will enter the football game. And one has to question, no matter how he's been working, and we were with him in Montreal. He worked continuously up there. He says he's in shape, but he has not been hit in a long time, and that is a big difference. In any event, the game is underway, and the season begins for Miami and Buffalo. This is Vic Washington at his own 4-yard line. And Washington hesitated, found the hole, moved out to the 30-yard line. Good field position by a veteran who's been around, Vic Washington. Back in a battle with Gary Morangi to hold that spot. The running backs are Roland Hooks, 25, Jim Braxton, number 34, wide receivers, 81, Bob Chandler. He's the best of the receiving group. Ahmad Rashad is gone. J.D. Hill's gone. John Holland is the other wide receiver. The tight end is Paul Seymour. There is your offensive line. It's a very good offensive line. Donnie Green has also returned, although he is not playing this evening. Buffalo, 1st and 10, just inside their own 30, and getting the call, Braxton. the big fullback. Squeezes about a half a yard to the 30-yard line. It'll be second down and 9, hit there by John Andrews. You saw the offensive line defensively for the Miami Dolphins, the front four.
Well, Frank, we all know that this front four has been together quite a while. They're pretty good. Vern Herter, Don Reese, Randy Crowder, and Bill Stanfield. Manny Fernandez isn't in there, Howard, and of course, you know how good he was.
Well, he's out for the year. Linebackers, you just saw a youngster, Larry Gordon, brilliant rookie, number 50. Steve Scholl from Kansas, second-year man, and Bob Matheson, 53.
He's over the right side. It looked as if a white jersey might have been offside. The flag is down on the field. Braxton, the powerhouse fullback, 6'1", O.J. Simpson. There's the call, offsides against Miami.
Frank, I used the adjective old. I said the old 53 defense. Miami this year is back in a 4-3 defense. Back to the 4-3, and they've been doing very well with it in the preseason.
Second down.
Defensive backfield for the Dolphins. Jarris White from Hawaii, third-year man. Curtis Johnson, veteran, 45. Charlie Babb, veteran, 49. And the brilliant second-year free safety from Iowa State, Barry Hill, number 44. He replaces Jake Scott now with Washington.
A lot of new names, and we'll talk further about the injuries that brought that about. But right now, third down and 4. Ferguson back, looking, firing. Tended for hooks. He holds on. He has the first down out to the 43-yard line.
But didn't go to the Olympics.
Marv Bateman, second leading punter in the AFC last year. Riffles one off to the sideline, angling for a kick somewhere within the 20. And that's what he gets, right on the 20-yard line. The tight end, he's number 87. Bob Greasy, passing over 70% in preseason. Back in good health. Benny Malone, right side. Gets out to the 24-yard line. Gain of 4. Merv Croker, number 52, defensively, and Dan Gillick, number 51.
With this team, but they're a young ball club, and last year's problem was they weren't a physical ball club, Howard. They didn't like to hit very well, and so they've changed that front four. Let's see if they can do it tonight.
A lot of them gone. Of course, Walt Patulski's gone, Pat Toomey, Earl Edwards, all from that defensive front four. Second down and 6. The ball just past the 24-yard line. Greasy handing off to Malone. Malone over the 25, out to the 27. Hit there by Mike Cady. Short of the first down. It'll be third down and 4. First out. Now the wide receivers come back into the game. Howard Twilley is in there along with Matt Moore. And Mandich opens up into the slot. Greasy gets belted as he unloads. And he was really popped. Rushing in on Greasy, number 69, Ken Jones. And Harris moves out to the 21-yard line. Hit there by Steve Freeman. There is no is out for the game. There's an injured knee. Greasy on the third down. Looking deep, finds Matt Moore. First down. Moore out to the 46-yard line. Here by Doug Jones. Let's look again.
Howard Twilley just keeps rolling along. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he has great moves to the inside and great hands. And there's what he can do best, catch the ball.
He will hold on. Let's take a look at it again. Twilley in motion. He comes in, puts them back into a zone defense. Crossing over the middle, and Greasy timed it out, had good protection, and hit the gap. Malone, right side. And Malone lunges forward, close to the 20-yard line. Right side, flags down again as Nottingham bursts over the right side.
And yet he would be besieged with questions.
And reading the 30-second clock, it's second down.
Well, that's the first for us. The 30-second clocks are in either end zone, of course. There it is. And I guess. And Nottingham gets the first down easily down to the 11-yard line. Cincinnati had a better record. They were the wild card team. On the first down. Little fire plug again, and he gets to the 10. A flag goes down as Nottingham goes down at the 9-yard line. Their own 20-yard line. Benny Malone back in there. Benny Malone gives him the outside speed, but Nottingham gets the call, and down he goes. Good diving play by Scorpan. He keeps it on the ground. Benny Malone, a lot of room. He'll just jog into the end zone. Miami on the scoreboard first.
He does have pickup.
Turn the corner. play looked to be designed off tackle. Malone saw it to the wide side, took it in from the 6-yard line for Miami 6.
Frank, Benny Malone has a very long stride for one of his size. Back comes down too hard on his ankles, and that's what causes his proliferation of injury.
You think?
That's what Shula and his team think.
Well, that's really heavy, you know.
Gyro Yepremian drills it. Miami 7, Buffalo Bills nothing. 2 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and we'll be returning to Buffalo right after this message. Gets the completion to John Holland, and you got to live right for that.
That was really, what was it Branch Rickey said? Luck is the residue of design and desire. This time, they had the desire, but apparently not the design, so it worked. Because that had to be luck, and yet there it was, and a touchdown for Buffalo.
Well, Miami threw all their linebackers at him, and of course that's really good when you're throwing the ball.
Here's John Leipold. He will convert for Buffalo. And that could be a spark that will help Buffalo because Miami have walked all over them on their scoring drive. It's tied up at 7 with 14:07 remaining in the first half. Let's look again. The pass intended for Seymour. Had Seymour touched this ball, deflected it, the completion would have been illegal. He didn't, or did he?
No, he
Close.
just missed it, Frank. Just over his tips of his fingers.
John Holland heads up, gets the touchdown, 53-yarder. And let's look at Holland again. This is the kind of football player you like to have around. I mean, he just was not intended for him, but he ran the pattern and hung with it. It was Jarris White whom Holland had beat. All tied at 7. Second quarter just underway. Leipold puts the foot to one. It will be taken by Gary Davis at 1-yard line. And Davis hurdled out to the 25-yard line. Miami will take over, and let's have an opportunity to meet the Miami starters. Let's open with Bob Greasy.
Hi, I'm Bob Greasy, quarterback, originally from Evansville, Indiana.
John Nottingham, fullback, Ravenna, Ohio.
Benny Malone, running back, Tempe, Arizona. Nat Moore, wide receiver, Miami, Florida. Howard Twilley, wide receiver, originally from Galena Park, Texas.
First and 10. Ball just over the 25. Benny Malone spins, twists. Was supposed to be covering Nottingham. There he is.
Now you know why Don Nottingham doesn't have a neck. Watch him take a head-on right here. Nice catch.
We can get our producer to run that back. I can show you what happened to Croker, who was supposed to be covering him. Croker, number 52, was assigned to Nottingham. When both backs come out of the backfield, same side, the middle linebacker has to take the second man out. Croker was frozen by that play action. First and 10. Ball at the 43-yard line of Buffalo. And here comes Benny Malone, right side. Little's out in front with a big block. 25. Nottingham, right side, down to the 20-yard line. Driving, being able to move in the ground. Greasy, plenty of protection, has time to throw. Finds the open man again. And buried under everyone is Nat Moore at the goal line, just short of the goal line. He did not get in.
Out of sight unseen. Look what's happened in football.
And unable to control his emotions is number 77, Bill Williams, who just came in there defensively for Buffalo. He's a rookie out of Mississippi.
Well, this is what rookies will do on the goal line, Frank.
You think he was submarining?
Looks like a little goose there.
Do that again, Alex.
77, defense, first up.
First down, right foot. Had surgery. He's come back strong. Played a little tennis during the offseason. Says everything is just fine. And he looks at tonight. Nottingham gets the call, gets the touchdown. Miami on the board again. Don Nottingham, who collected over 700 yards rushing last year. That's Earl Morrill on the sidelines. He holds for Gyro Yepremian.
And there's the master himself. No end to my respect for that man. Just an extraordinary coach. 19 new faces in this team over the past couple of years, Frank. And yet they hold together. They play with a precision.
is your Premium, former teammate of my friend Alex Webster Karras. So Miami extends their lead over the Buffalo Bills, 14-7. We have 10:18 remaining in the half. 58 yards. He scored earlier from 53 yards.
Somehow, Alex, these two teams always play this kind of game, at least in the recent years. Incidentally, Texas beat BC 14-13, Gip. I think I said 15-14. But anyway, we're on the verge of a tie ball game.
John Holland was in a battle with Jarris White. Holland won. Two rather wild catches by John Holland. 58-yard touchdown a moment ago. He had a 53-yarder earlier. John Leipold set to tie it up, which he does. So with 7:18 remaining in the first half, it's Buffalo 14, Miami 14, and we'll be returning in a moment. Jarris White. White actually good position, but you never position a perfectly thrown ball, and that's just what that ball was.
Well, he didn't respect Holland either. You can see this. Jarris White lets him go to the inside, and then he gets beat. And what do you have to do if you're a quarterback? You got to back pedal. You don't let that guy get inside like that.
I love the way
and look what he did. He rubbed it.
White.
Nothing more lonely than a defensive back when he's beaten.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Denny Malone dribbles the ball, and who gets it? Sherman White was in there. Situation to have anytime you can take the lead. And Ferguson came up almost half a yard short, and it's blocked. Blocked, and hustling to pick it up was Salter. He never had possession. So it'll be Miami's ball. Bobble around. Barry Hill in there to make the stop. 5:15 remaining in the first half. Is tied at 14. We'll be back. Second down and 10. The ball at the 47-yard line. Crazy. All the time in the world finds Nat Moore. Moore out to the 41-yard line. Has the first down. Working against the rookie, Murray. Nottingham. Gulash blocking in front. Defensively, Merv Croker moves to time. Looking in the corner, and almost a sensational catch by Nat Moore, but he doesn't hold on. Back there defending, Mario Clark, and this time good call. Wide open, and Bullock storms up the middle. Inside the 15, down to the 12. First down Miami, and they'll stop the clock.
Now you know why Shula says that's the best.
15 apiece. Gulash again pulling up the middle, getting down to about the 6-yard line. Doug Jones made the stop.
To do the job. He's been plagued from time to time by a bad ankle.
Gulash got 5. It's second down at 5. Miami can make a first down at the 2-yard line. Crazy. Firing and goes into a pack intended for Howard Twilley.
Help ready if necessary. 30 seconds left in the half.
Ball at the 7-yard line. Miami 2 timeouts. And Gracie, I don't know whether it was a design play or not. And Gillick, number 51, and out trots Scour your Premium.
4'11", 106 pounds.
Boy, he has been hot too, Alex. During the preseason, 8 of 9 in preseason. He was 13 of 16 last year. You played with him back a few years ago, right, Alex?
I taught him how to tackle, Frank.
You must have taught him how to pass. Recall the Super Bowl? The Dolphins have 1 timeout remaining. 4th down. Your Premium's on the field. And 21 seconds indicated on the scoreboard. There must be a capacity crowd here tonight. We mentioned top of the telecast that there were several thousand seats remaining, some 20,000, when O.J. signed. It was announced. And we have a near capacity. That would be 80,000. Yarrow, your Premium, set to untie this football game from the 25-yard line, which he promptly does. Kick is good, and Miami moves out in front of the Buffalo Bills, 17-14. three-quarter moon tonight on a beautiful night for football. Temperature just right. Atmosphere good, and we've had some exciting play. 17-14. Miami coming back with a rash of injuries and is taken there by Mike Holmes. And the three-year man from Texas Southern is buried at the 30-yard line. 12 seconds on the clock. Just short of the 30-yard line. On first down, and he'll put it in the air. Goes out to Vic Washington. Washington scrambles out of bounds, kills the clock. He doesn't come in, O.J. won't come in. Second down, a yard. This should be the final play. Ferguson back. Looking for a receiver, picked off, nope. Bobbled by Jarris White. It was too easy, did not hold on, and that's the end of the first half. Miami over Buffalo, 17-14 at halftime. We'll be returning to Buffalo in just one moment. Harris for the Miami Dolphins. Leipold hits one to the 5-yard line, taken there by Duriel Harris. Harris down the sideline. Watch out. Duriel Harris all the way to the 31-yard line of the Buffalo Bills. A third-round draft pick from New Mexico State, and he can fly.
Another Bobby Beathard find. He's the director of player personnel for the Miami Dolphins. Duriel broke one during the exhibition season. He didn't surprise his coach, Don Shula, or anybody in the Miami organization with that kick run. He's got a long career. He's got a body a lot like Paul Warfield, Frank, and they like to liken him to Warfield, hoping he can turn out to be something like Paul.
63-yard return by Harris. Last week, preseason game, he went 59 yards on a punt return for a touchdown. A lot of promise. Greasy hands off. Nottingham looks for some running room, finds one on the left side. Clark help, but Nat Moore comes up with it. Perfectly thrown ball by Bob Greasy. So Miami strikes quickly. Mario Clark was getting help from his free safety, Tony Green.
Well, Greasy had all the time in the world back there, Frank. Of course, that helped an awful lot when you had that kind of time.
That is exactly true, Alex. He has had time to throw all night long. That has been the Bills' problem. It remains that way. Greasy now 8 of 12, 143 yards. Gary Yepremian drills it. Miami spins their lead 24-14. We'll look at it again. The man they are working on, Mario Clark. He's the rookie from Oregon, the first-round draft pick of the Bills. They've been working on him all night. Getting over there to help is Tony Green. But this ball was thrown dead perfect. And I think that, well, I think Nat Moore just took it out of the hands of Mario Clark. Third-year man out of Florida. Mario trying to play a little bump and run with him. Hard to do it. I don't know how he got it.
I don't either. I thought Clark had it. Let's see if we can see something more, Frank. Alex?
I thought it was intercepted.
I did too.
Well, they did a good job defending back there, but it's one of those things. Greasy put it right in there.
No, he took it out of Clark's hands. Don't you think, Frank? I thought
it
Clark
must have been bobbled by Clark, and he just caught it on the way down. But it was heads-up football by this man who's turned in some exciting plays. Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad. There's Bobby.
Norm Evans. Let's take a look at that offensive line open this hole. 36 Nottingham got off a good block there. I couldn't see who made that block, Giff, but that's Wayne Morse.
Second down. Ball at the 38. And I believe that Sherman White was drawn offside by Wayne Moore as the flag goes down. Touchdown passes by the Buffalo Bills, who have stayed in this game. Very young team. A lot of changes offensively and defensively for Buffalo. Greasy. Again, a lot of time. Fires complete. Howard Twilley, and he's short of the first down, down to the 29-yard line. He had to get to the 28. And again, Bob Greasy continues to introduce Mario Clark to NFL football.
Twilley's an amazing fellow. Back in 1964, he was catching passes at Tulsa from a smallish kid named Jerry Rome, who then led the country in passing. Remember when Jerry Rome came in with his coach, Glenn Dobbs? Remember Glenn to meet Sonny Werblin. Wanted to go with the Jets, who had the draft rights to him. Werblin traded those rights for a guy named Joe Willie Namath.
Third down and 1. The 2 tight ends are in. Boo gets the call. Tremendous hole, and he moves all the way down to the 21-yard line. Tony Green prevents the touchdown for Buffalo. Norm Bullock having a big night for Miami behind a superb offensive line. 72 yards for the Boo on 8 carries.
Larry Little, the right guard for the Miami Dolphins, been around a long time, and I've been watching him since. He's doing a superb job with that defensive tackle, just knocking him right out of the ball game. And Larry's a small guy. He isn't very big, so he can get under you and use a lot of leverage.
That's number 66.
Let's see if we can watch him a little bit, Frank.
Okay, 1st and 10. Ball bobbled. Dan Winfrey bobbled the ball. And I believe it's Dan Jellick. Yes, it is. The rookie from Michigan recovers for Buffalo.
Center Iowa.
Don Reese, defensive tackle, Mobile, Alabama.
Randy Crowder, defensive tackle, Farrell, Pennsylvania. Bill Stanfield, defensive end, Cairo, Georgia.
Not only good, they look about half on rate. Ball at the 20-yard line. 3rd down and 8. Ferguson. Batted away. 2nd down. This is Bulash. And Bulash hurdles forward to the 37-yard line. Or to make it 24-14, and that's where we are. 3rd down and 5. Greasy back. Center there, Juriel Harris. And he has the ball at the 22-yard line. 1st down, Miami. That's 21. Nottingham, right side, big hole. And the little cannonball moves inside the 15, close to a 1st down. They'll mark it at the 13. 2nd down and 1. This is Bulash getting the 1st down. Norm is really big
In Philadelphia.
They do deal out a few. 1st and 10. Mario Clark has gone out. Greasy.
That's a designated play,
Yeah.
Frank.
It hasn't worked twice.
That's an
2nd down and 8.
That's an old Earl Morrill.
Easy game, Howard. 2nd down and 8. Greasy going up in the air, and Matt Moore should have had it. Mario Clark is out of the lineup, and Keith Moody is in. Mario Clark had been shaken up. And that one, Nat should have had. The one he caught for a touchdown a while ago, he should not have had. That's Moody, the rookie. Just bounced off the shoulder pads. Maybe could have followed it just a little more closely. Nobody's perfect. 3rd down now and 8. Larry Seifel comes in, number 20. He's in there for obvious reasons. He's a fine receiver, and he generally moves into the wingback position. He's in there with Norm Bulash and Stan Winfrey. Bulash pulls down to the 3-yard line. Clock ticking away the final minutes here in the 3rd quarter.
Back to Sherman White, Frank. The Bills traded J.D. Hill, the wide receiver, to Detroit for a #1 draft choice. Then they traded their own #1 draft choice to Cincinnati. That's how they got Sherman White. J.D. Hill, by the way, undergoes surgery. Torn ligaments in the knee. It is a hard game, Frank.
Earl Morrill will hold Garo Yepremian from 20 yards. It's good. Garo Yepremian extends the Miami Dolphin lead over the Buffalo Bills. 27-14 with 5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. We'll be right back.
Let's watch it again. We'll watch Ferguson run, and he doesn't like to do this very much, but he has to sometimes, and he does a pretty good job running to the outside. Now, as you said, Howard, watch Larry Hill come and put the helmet and the head into him. He didn't want to get up a little bit on that one.
Let's look at it again, and Ferguson had time to throw the ball. He just did not have an open receiver as Miami came up with good coverage. Number 60 in there pressuring Don Reese.
Frank, I think it's time to mention again that The Bills, very early on in the ball game, lost.
So it'll be Leipold with the field goal attempt. 39-yard attempt. Boy, that one was almost blocked by Barry Hill. Wide to the right. So we'll be returning to Rich Stadium, where it's Miami 27, Buffalo 14.
When it comes
Bulash, inside handoff. Flag goes down. Bulash squeezes out 3 yards, but a flag is down. Ken Jones in there to make the stop, number 69, with help from Marty Smith, number 79. Holding call will go against Miami.
Back to Arrowhead Stadium next week, fellas. Kansas City against Oakland. Obviously, Oakland, a powerhouse team.
Second down and 15. The ball at the 15-yard line. Somebody is really pulling the Buffalo off. That's Benny Malone. Dropped by John Scorpan to the slot. All the time in the world. And kicked off. Doug Jones. No, wait a minute.
Buffalo's ball.
Buffalo's ball. Doug Jones, who missed all of last season with a bad knee, makes the interception for Buffalo.
That's the very break Buffalo needed to get back into this ball game. We've got 12 minutes, 30 seconds left. As I said, these teams always have close games. A touchdown now by Buffalo, eminently possible, puts a whole new look upon the contest.
This was a poorly thrown ball, and good coverage by Doug Jones. Greasy had a lot of time, but it was the break that Buffalo needed. First and 10. Leipold for the conversion. Leipold puts it through, and Buffalo is a touchdown and a conversion away from the lead. 4 plays, 30 yards. Is 27-21. Miami over Buffalo. We'll be back. And Buffalo always capable of fireworks offensively. Gary Davis. And Davis out to the 30-yard line. 25-yard return. And let's go back a moment ago. And Ferguson fled both of his backs on that touchdown pass. That left a one-on-one situation with Bob Chandler working against Charlie Babb. And in most cases, a receiver, when the quarterback has time, here you'll see Babb, number 49, step into the picture. Toll was back there too late from his middle linebacking spot. Not bad coverage, but a perfect pass and a good route by Chandler. Norm Bulash, number 31, Stan Winfrey, number 33, the setback. Bulash. What he's done so well over those 11 years. Here it is again. That look to the inside, holds the defender, and the pass perfectly thrown. Greasy right over the linebacker. No way to knock it away. No way to intercept. And once again, the man victimized, Mario Clark, number 29. Both feet cut inbounds.
You look at Twilly close up. The guy looks like 45, Frank. Your age.
You're vicious. You know, he reminds me a lot of Ray Barry in the way he runs his patterns. Very definite with every step. Bulash, big hole. Bulash all the way down to the 41-yard line. First and 10 again for Miami. Tony Green made the stop. Gracie, Nat Moore, complete. 5-yard pickup, second down and 5 yards. Lunges forward inside the 35, close to the 34, hit by Tony Green. Third down. Look at Winfrey fly. Big hole, gaping hole down to the 23-yard line, first down Miami.
What a hole. That's that offensive line. And they don't miss Norm Evans, who may be the most articulate player I have ever known. A deeply religious young man. And Shula said it was, as you watch Winfrey again through that wide open gaping hole, Shula said it was the most difficult thing of his life to let Norm Evans go. As for Evans, his respect for Shula is overwhelming. Norm has just written a remarkable new book called On the Line with Eddie Pope of the Miami Herald, which I think portrays the relationship between a coach and a player as well as I have ever read.
Doug Jones is down on the field, being attended to there, the safety man for the Buffalo Bills. We'll be returning to Buffalo in just a moment.
Yeah.
7:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. Miami over Buffalo, 27-21. Nat Moore in motion. Bulash barrels out over the left side, gets a couple of yards. It'll be second down and 8. You know, we're on. Bulash.
There was your imperfect cross block.
Croker with the Bulash.
In the meantime, they're in good position. Frank, show them what happened here.
There it is again. Oh, this time Croker reads it.
Yeah, he steps up this time. He's a linebacker, and he has a little, you know, he can do that once in a while. He has to be mobile out there.
End of lesson.
The 26 is in there. Third down and 10. Juriel Harris holds on. He has the first down inside the 15 at the 14. Doug Jones covering. But Harris, the rookie from New Mexico State, showing a lot of promise.
The fall season starring Bill Cosby, who I think is one of the world's funniest men, both on and off a tennis court. It's a show for everyone in your family. Bill's guest stars on the very first week include Mr. Carter himself, Gabriel Kaplan, the former busboy from Lakewood, New Jersey, Cindy Williams, who's Shirley and Laverne and Shirley, the great musical group Chicago, Bruce Jenner, the world's greatest athlete, Paralympic decathlon champion.
31-yard field goal to Tim Garrow, your Premium. They could put it out of the reach of a one touchdown by Buffalo. He's been hot during preseason. And he remains hot. The Premium hits for 31 yards out to extend Miami's lead over Buffalo, 30-21.
If before we break for commercial, just a further reminder about Bill Cosby. What a way to start Sunday night this Sunday. And also on the show will be Linda Wonder Woman Carter, who might just show Bruce Jenner a thing or two. Saw Bruce play
in Kansas City for the Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I hope they still have that horse, Howard. I'm going to take a ride on him around that field.
Not your punchy mouth like it is in the saddles.
Yeah.
Your Premium hits it. This is Mike Holmes. And Holmes ambles out to the 30-yard line. They'll mark it at the 31. Buffalo will try and get back in it. 44 yards.
What a super athlete.
Down to the 10-yard line. And Deuce puts the moves on. He was in a flood pattern. He should have been covered by the middle linebacker. He wasn't. He makes a super catch. And then he just does his own thing from there on out, which is rather electrifying. Bob Mathis misses. And the Deuce gives Buffalo a first down inside their 11-yard line. Charlie Babb finally puts Ferguson. Knocks away. Intended for John Holland.
The same way. That away, Jews. Brandish that fist.
Setbacks now are number 33, Vic Washington. Darnell Powell, rookie out of Chattanooga. Number 35, the other setback. Second down. Ferguson. Out of time. Firing into the end zone, intended for Chandler or Seymour. They were both together. And they just do get this in off within the 30 seconds. Oh, and he does not hold on. Roland Hooks does not hold on. Had a chance for it. And we see? Lipo? No. On fourth down?
Yes.
Yes, we do. This is the right move.
I don't know why they're booing. It's
Obviously,
ridiculous.
the fans would like to see them go, but 4th and 10, you have to go for the field goal.
The field goal is the absolutely right call by Coach Lou Saban because they will then be within range. Touchdown and a conversion would actually put them ahead. And there's 3:40 left. Yep.
From 28 yards, Lipo. No good. No good. Off to the right.
Well,
That hurts.
yeah. It's the understatement of the year.
Why didn't you ask me what I would have done, Howard? I'd have gone for the touchdown on that play if I'd have been.
Fat chance.
Nobody asked me.
There's O.J., who put Buffalo within range with a spectacular 44-yard run of a Ferguson pass. Vic Washington comes over. That's the kind of feeling, really, that I'm sure permeates through this entire Buffalo squad. And they're fond of this man. And if you know him, you understand why. He's one of the most personable people I've ever met. There's a little bit of magic for everybody. 1st and 10 for Miami. They'll be concentrating on grinding away the clock. Winfrey grinds away the clock to the tune of a 7-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd down and 3. 2nd down and 3. The ball at the 27-yard line of Miami. Bulash. Them the tough battle. Quilly in motion. Ball goes to Winfrey as Miami just working on the clock. Winfrey gets a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Counting down to the 2-minute warning. You talk about the excitement of the Oakland game yesterday. I still harken back to the incredible excitement of the college football opening Saturday.
Stadium in Buffalo. Miami over Buffalo 30-21. We'll be right back. Ball resting at the 35-yard line. 2nd down and 8. Bulash having a big night. 105 yards. His first 100-yarder since 1971. Winfrey gets the first down, just runs right over Keith Moody.
Howard, unless something drastically happens with that Buffalo defense, I don't blame O.J. for wanting to be traded. He'd like to play with a winner, like to play with a championship before he leaves this game. And as far as I'm concerned, looking at the defensive football team, I think it's going to take them a long, long time in order to be a championship quality ball club.
Probably right. I think that was a factor in O.J.'s position.
1st down. Bulash moves out to the 43-yard line. Picks him up to about 108 yards.
But
the biggest game ever, 197-yarder for Baltimore. Holt's record. We have timeout at 1:12. We'll be back in just a moment. Buffalo Bills 30-21. 2nd down and 7. We'd like to thank our statistician and researcher Jerry Klein, our spotter as usual Steve Bazika from the Hall of Fame home in Canton, Ohio. Ball at the 48-yard line for the Miami Dolphins, who have been very methodical in their performance tonight. Whole bunch of confusion as flags. All the flags are thrown.
Everybody went. A little bit of temper as Miami is in the process of making it 13 consecutive victories over the Buffalo Bills. And as the coaches review the films next week, Shula will be very, very pleased with his offensive line, very, very pleased with his running backs, very happy with the calls of Bob Greasy, perhaps a mite troubled by some of the play of his defensive secondary that enabled Holland to score twice against them on big bombs. And I think he'll be overall very happy with his linebacking trio of Bob Matheson, Steve Toll.
Offense, decline, 3rd down.
There you heard the lining of the penalty. Toll, Larry Gordon, and Matheson. No need to use Bonacani tonight. Saban will find Succor in the return of the Juice. A fine offensive line. 3 touchdown passes by Ferguson. Some good work by his receivers. But a great concern over the continuing absence of a good defensive unit.
3rd down now and 8. Miami, of course, only thinking now in terms of the clock and looking ahead to New England next week. Buffalo, a young team with a lot of changes. It's just hard to say because you never really know what kind of a year O.J. will have. That will be as much a determining factor as anything else in their success this year. But their defense looks the same as it did last year, and it's just not quite strong enough. Bulash, left side, gets back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe squeaked out a yard. It'll be 4th down with 1 minute on the clock. So Miami will have to punt.
All right, we've talked about the Oakland victory yesterday and about the game coming up next week at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City against Oakland. Let's take a look at that incredible play yesterday by Kenny Stabler. There he is. Mean Joe Green all over him. Key play of the game. He goes under Joe Green and somehow finds Branch, the speedster from Colorado. That got them to the 2-yard line. Stabler rolled out, moved it in, tied it at 28-all, setting up the Oakland victory. Back to live action in the gift.
And that was some football game. Seipel hits it. Single safety is Roland Hooks, but it takes a Buffalo bounce and out of bounds at the 26-yard line. 52 seconds remaining. Down, onside kick. You believe in magic, Alex?
I believe in her.
Your mind back on the game, Liz. Don Shula, as Howard said, with his 13th consecutive win over Buffalo. A great coaching record. The best in the business. Ferguson with a lot of time, and of course Miami just defending. They're not putting on the pass rush. That was intended for Vic Washington, incomplete. 46 seconds. Joe Ferguson, who is in a bit of a battle for his starting position with Gary Morangi of Boston College. We've not seen him tonight. It was a battle throughout the entire preseason. If anything, Morangi seemed to have had the edge, but Ferguson has quite a record against Miami. Last year he completed 40 passes, even though they dropped both games. So that could have been the determining factor on the part of Lou Saban to go with Ferguson all night. Flags are down. Ferguson fires, complete to Chandler. Has the first down. Flag down again at the line of scrimmage. Out of bounds goes Vic Washington. Chandler lateraling off to Washington. 35 seconds now on the clock.
I like to see them lateral off, Frank. That play yesterday by Franco Harris, who charged up the middle for 25 and then lateraled back to 82.
Defense decline. First up.
Stallworth ran 38 more to move it in. A 63-yard play. I like to see that kind of football. You were talking about Ferguson. Kid's thrown 3 touchdown passes, and you put together the 2 to Holland, the big bombs, plus the 44-yarder to O.J. He has picked up an awful lot of yardage passing.
Randy Crowder was offsides, declined by Buffalo. 35 seconds on the clock. Ferguson puts everyone in the pattern. Still has time. Fires across the middle. And goes to the big tight end. Seymour has the first down, but that's almost academic as Buffalo calls for timeout. They now have no more timeouts. So you'd really have to believe in a lot of magic. 28 seconds remaining. Joe Ferguson over to visit with Saban. You can only anticipate that they both know what has to be done. They have to get the touchdown. It's almost an impossibility, but you're never really ever out of it when you have a chance at all. But it would almost indicate that Ferguson is going to have to go way up on top and try and get the 6. And Miami, of course, thinking the same thing, has brought in their 5th defensive man into the secondary. Babb is in there. Barry Hill's in there. Charlie Babb, Jarris White, Tim Foley, and Brian Salter. And they are back all the way to the 10-yard line. Flags down all over the field. Ferguson throwing, intended for his big tight end, number 87, knocked away by Barry Hill. Here's a look at Joe Ferguson. He was leveled just as he let go of it, and I believe he has got the wind knocked out of him. 22 seconds now. Again, flags go down.
Well, while we're waiting for Joe Ferguson to be tended to, Frank, let's take a look at that play I referred to just a few seconds ago. Franco Harris and then John Stallworth. Look at Franco go right up the middle. Now watch this. Looks back, flips it off to 82, Stallworth. It was a fleet-footed one from Alabama A&M. And then he goes for the score, 63 yards in all. Kind of football we used to see a lot of when Gifford was teaming up with Kyle Rote.
They need a coffee break on a play like that. Reggie McKenzie offsides, declined by Miami. 22 seconds remaining in the game. Gary Morangi has come in for Ferguson. Gary Morangi out of Boston College. Very open about the fact that he feels he is the #1 quarterback and wants to either be that here or, if not, somewhere else. Fiery.
Well, am I getting tired of hearing those things, Frank? If I can't play here, let me play somewhere else.
Sometimes you don't want to expose yourself, do you? You'd be better off just hanging around.
I would love to have hung around for about 18 years.
Morangi is in there. He will have the same assignment that we mentioned was Joe Ferguson's a while ago, to get the 6 points in one play and fast. And you just have a feeling with Buffalo's defense being as it is, they're going to be involved in a lot of games with scores like this. 38, 34, that kind of a game.
Well, that puts a lot of pressure on Ferguson. He's got to get a lot of points on that scoreboard to win, and when that happens, you know, it's a little tough.
The word to our listeners around the country, except on the West Coast. Sure and stay with us. Your local news will be coming your way immediately following this football game. 22 seconds. Have things all pulled together. There was something the matter with the clock, I believe. It's holding up the play. Juice looks on. He provided the electricity that the Buffalo Bill fans had come to see with a 44-yard reception and 28 yards rushing. Incomplete. The delay, I believe, was to correct the scoreboard clock. And Gary Morangi was held up. Clock now stopped with 5 seconds remaining. That pass intended for Chandler, picked up and covered nicely by Tim Foley. Give us a chance to tell you the executive producer of ABC Sports is Brune Arledge. Coverage of tonight's game is produced by Don Olmeyer, directed by Chet Forty. Our technical director, Bill Morris, associate director, Jeff Cohen, engineering supervisor, Dick Horan, unit manager, Bill Farrell, assistant to the producer, Will Wallace. And, of course, our associate producer, Dick Buffington. Third down, 5 seconds on the clock. Miami will win this one, 13 straight over Buffalo. And again, figure to be strong contenders, along with Baltimore, the AFC's Eastern Division. Miami plays New England at New England next week. Houston will be here in Buffalo for the Bills. Morangi back. Going for Chandler, and Chandler tries for one-handed. Incomplete, and that's the ball game. Once again, the final score, Miami 30, Buffalo 21. This is Frank Gifford, along with Howard Cosell and Alex Karras, saying so long from Buffalo, New York.
The preceding a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
Enjoy 2 new season shows. First, from the producers of Starsky and Hutch, meet the new eye-popping, crime-stopping trio Charlie's Angels. Then see the most talked-about episode of Family, Tuesday starting at 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain on ABC.